Fucking some of you fuckers may know we have an album coming up. We've fucking finished recording it. We've finished fucking mastering it. It's time to fucking play one from that album. This one's about speaking with the dead. It's called Speaking with the Dead!
welcome to the Riff Crew. I'm your host, Steve Mitchell, back for another big episode here in the realm. And joining me over in DC is my great mate, Skull. How you doing, mate?
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen in Cyberland. As you know, this is Skull broadcasting from the past, present, and future in the Chamber of the Cosmos. Here with my good friend Steve Oz from Ozland. I'm an on-again, off-again DC bomb rock band Black Manta. I've been in the scene for over 35 years. I know people from all over the scene. I also worked at the Smithsonian for 20 years and have incorporated my love and passion for history with my love and passion for music. As usual, really excited to be here. And we have a special guest with us here today, one of the original Godfathers of Doom and singer from Pentagram and Bedemon, Bobby Liebling. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing okay. How you been, Skull?
Good, man. It's good to see you.
Good to talk with you. Yeah, good to see you again. Last time I saw you, I forget where it was.
It's been a
We
while.
were on a video interview about 6 months ago or something, or maybe it was one way back with Joe Hasselwander. I don't remember you. There's so
It's
many
been a
of them.
while,
God.
man. We
Yeah, it's
actually
well.
opened up for you guys a couple of times back in the
I
day,
know.
yeah.
I
But
know. I still talk to Hillel occasionally.
oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So I really just wanted to start it off by just talking. We like to talk because I love history, talk about the history of how people got into the business and how they started out. So I always wanted to talk to you about like your start, how you guys started off. And I know you were into a band called the Fallen Angels. So if you just wanted to touch on that a little bit, that would be great for everybody out there.
No, they were a band that we used to open for all the time. My original first band was called the Shades of Darkness, and I
Mm.
started playing 3 nights a week in 1965. And geez, God, I'm telling
It
my
was a long
age,
time
man.
ago.
Yeah, a few years back. And I'm still kicking around, and Pentagram's more popular than ever. I started out with the Shades of Darkness, and then in 69, 70, it kind of converted over into where I was writing a lot of originals. And Shades of Darkness broke up. We were a local cover band. We used to open for people like the Fallen Angels and Chartbusters and Flavor, big bands that were local, and the Telstars, who were a
The Cherry
legendary band.
People.
Yeah, Cherry People. Yeah, I know Punky and them and the Grimes Brothers and stuff, Bang Grenade. And, we opened for Link Ray at the Dunloring Fire Hall dance in 1966.
Wow.
And so I go way, way back. And
Link Ray, that's awesome.
yeah, Link's a good dude. He was a good dude. He was. And an innovator, too. Wow. Legend to me. I love
Uh,
Link.
that's
Sleazy
heavy.
greaser roll, grease and rock. Yeah, I love it.
Grease.
Yeah, well, I mean, I grew up, leather jacket kid with the big pompadour and all that kind of stuff, and all that type of thing. Listening to doo-wop music in the 50s and, when I was a little kid. And I started playing 3 nights a week when I was 11 and a half years old in 65. And by the time I was 14, I was playing 4 nights a week and even staying out like on the weekends at my band's house and then going to school on a different school bus in the morning across town and that kind of thing. And then in 69, in 67, I moved to a different area. I was growing up in Arlington, Virginia at the time. I'm originally from Brooklyn. I was born in Washington, D.C. and at Doctor's Hospital, which hasn't been there for 60 plus years. And let's see, in 67, I moved to a place called Crystal City, which was on the borderline of Arlington and Alexandria, Virginia, which is right outside, a mile outside D.C. and a mile from the Pentagon. My father was a big executive in the Pentagon, the upper echelon of the Pentagon. And let's see, I met Jeff O'Keefe, who was the original drummer of Pentagram. He lived in the next building from me and my folks. And in 67, we started talking and hanging out and going to record stores and stuff. Jeff's dad used to drive us to all the record stores, to buy albums back then. And they used to sell DJ copies very openly back then. They were 2 for $5 instead of $3.69 each. for brand new records, of course. And we used to go to a place called the Soul Shack in Record City and Glen Music. They were down in Washington, D.C. His dad used to drive us down there, and his dad would go to the dirty bookstores while we went into the record shops. And,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, and we started talking and listening to music constantly. All the early bands, the Hendrix, Cream, Era, Blue Cheer, and stuff like that. Sabbath and them hadn't come along yet or anything. And around '69, it was like, hey, let's I've got a lot of songs I'm writing and stuff, and we could do this, And Jeff and I used to go down. Jeff was just starting to practice playing drums at the time, and he used to go down and had a little stereo, and he put the speakers on both sides of his little drum kit, and play along with the records and stuff. And sometimes I'd take a shot at it, which was ridiculous because I cannot play drums. It's the one thing I can't get even near. I can keep a beat and that's it. But, a filler, forget it. Anyway, we decided around 70 when we were doing a band that's now known as Stone Bunny. And it got, the stuff's all up on YouTube now. We decided to form a band that we wanted to be as heavy as Blue Cheer. That was the object set out. Let's be as wild and heavy as Blue Cheer.
Right on.
Because they were idols of ours, and always were through every last minute of the band. In the early 2000s. And I became very, very dear friends with Dickie and Paul Whaley at the end. And Paul used to stay at my house on weekends when they were recording the very last album, What Doesn't Kill You, in 2006. I met them at 86 at the old 930 Club in Washington, D.C., which is a very famous club now. It's housed all the national acts and everything, and moved, years later. But we decided to form a band, and let's see, my mom is who thought up the name, actually. She said she liked the movie The Wolf Man with Lon Chaney Jr., and in the middle of the movie he looks at his palm, which is growing hairy at the time because he's turning into the werewolves, and it gets a pentagram on this palm. And also, so she said, she liked all the classic horror movies, and so did I growing up, Lugosi and Karloff movies and stuff. So she said, why don't you call it Pentagram? And I said, Pentagram? What's Pentagram? She said, well, it's a star with, 5 points star and stuff. And nobody knew what Satanism was or any of that kind of stuff back then. There wasn't any, black metal connotations or anything like that, except I was into a lot of dark stuff at the time. And also, since my dad worked at the Pentagon, their newspaper of the Pentagon still is to this day, is called the Pentagram News. Okay. Yeah. And she said, yeah, your father'd like that, and so I was like, why don't you call it Pentagram? So I said, yeah, okay. It's a bold name, hard rock, it sounds definitive. And so we decided on Christmas Day, 71, we gathered at the warehouse that became famous. It's now all over Instagram. You see old Pentagram pics, they call them. And they're old pictures of us rehearsing in the warehouse that we originally rehearsed in. And the original band was a guy named Steve Martin, who's now gone. He's passed. And John Jennings was one of the guitar players from Stone Bunny. He later went on to produce Mary Chapin Carpenter, and he's gone. And Vincent McAllister, who became guitar prodigy Divine, was the bass player. And Jeff O'Keefe, the drummer, was the other guitar player. So the members, we played musical chairs, in the beginning. And John Jennings didn't like the heaviness and my writing near as much as what he was doing. He was more to a Neil Young kind of thing. So he left. And for a while, we didn't know what to do. So we became just Vincent on bass, and Jeff went to drums, and I played guitar. And this went on for about a month or so. And we recorded a couple things that are lost in the shuffle through the years. And finally, one day, Vincent said, "Hey, my friend Greg Main, who was the bass player of Stone Bunny, who lives in my neighborhood," he said, "he can play bass really good. Why don't we get him back in the band and let me try playing guitar?" So, and a star was born with Vincent, and we became Pentagram as it became the classic lineup with Jeff on drums, Vince on guitar, Greg on bass, and myself singing. And we went on from there. And we couldn't get a damn gig anywhere because nobody lets you play original songs back then in clubs.
Sure.
Impossible. It's like, you guys play, right? You play originals. Yeah, we play all originals. Oh, no. You can't dance to those. Nobody's ever heard of those. Forget it. Yeah, right. And that's all they cared about was selling beer and people, dancing. So they get thirsty. So we didn't get any gigs, and we played our first gig in '73 finally at Montgomery Junior College in Maryland, which is now just Montgomery College. And it's in Montgomery County, Maryland, actually in Germantown, Maryland, where I lived for the last 20 years before I moved up here outside of Philly again, which I'm living now. And the rest, I guess, is sort of history, People kind of know from that point on because First Days Here releases got, finally put out of all the old demo tapes we made and stuff like that. And then I got tapped by the magic wand and got a shot at the major leagues, about 15 years ago at the age of 56. And I carried the flag, and I'm the only original member,
Awesome. Did you ever get a chance to see any of the bands like Jimmy or the Doors or Cream or Sabbath or any of those guys back then?
Every single one you just named, and multiple times.
Awesome.
Yeah, I met Jimmy and backstage, and I met Jim Morrison after the Doors concert, and I got drunk with Janis Joplin at the Alexandria roller rink when I was 14 backstage. Awesome. And got to see them all, man, all the original early bands, and mostly the underground bands especially we'd go to see, because there was a local DJ named Barry Richards who older people would remember very well. He became a legend because he brought all of the really heavy hard rock late 60s early 70s bands to the DC area. We saw Lord Baltimore live, and Dust, and Bob Seger's System, Mongrel Tour, and Atomic Rooster, and Boomerang, and Cactus, and Blood Rock, and all the Crusher heavy bands. Yeah. So awesome. Barry Richards, we used to make fun of him, and we'd throw tomatoes at him at the concerts, where he'd come up and try to announce the bands and do his little spiel. And we were cruel. I mean, we're kids. And we were just having fun. It was like, look at that jerk up there. Ha, 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 ha. But without Barry Richards, the city of Washington, D.C. would have never had all the rock it did.
That's awesome. Yeah, he actually interviewed the Beatles and all that stuff.
Yes, apparently. He did. Yes, he did. Now there's a two DVD set of Barry Richards shows, because he finally got his own show on television on local station Channel 20, WZCA in Washington, D.C., and called Turn On in the early 70s. And he had all these bands on there, Humble Pie, Amboy Dukes. I've seen them all. I've seen The Illusion.
I own it. I own the set.
Okay. Then
Yeah.
Pro, all the really cool bands back then. It was a wild time, man. It was heavy rock was in its infancy still. It was in a development stage, and there were new avenues that were unexplored and still not heard of being done. Stuff like Iron Butterfly, doing the Baroque type of stuff, and Ultimate Spinach from Boston doing all the psychedelic things, Beacon Street Union. There were just so many incredible bands. I mean, I saw Grand Funk 4 times and Mountain 6 or 8, and I knew Leslie really well. Wow. And stuff like that. You know, I still got Mark Farner's harmonica, and I swiped up off the stage real fast when he threw it down.
Well, what was it like when you first heard the Summertime Blues? Did you like hear that on the radio? Like what was that like when you heard it?
Actually, no, I had never heard Blue Cheer at all, and their album came in uh, to a place called the Soul Shack in Washington, in a carton, and another place in Georgetown that was called the Disco File, and it was a hippie record store. And I remember it came in the same day as Mr. Fantasy by Traffic and the first Spirit album, which is classic to me. I adore Spirit. I saw Spirit a half a dozen times.
Fresh Garbage.
Yeah, I love Randy California too. What a motherfucker guitar player. God damn. He was, he was a big loss. And that same day, Vince Disruptum came in its carton, and we saw them unpacking the cartons for the Disco File. It was a very small, little, like a hallway, record store, privately owned. And by some hippie named Paul Dow, who was in a band called the Hangmen. They were very famous in the Washington, D.C. area too. He was the bass player of the Hangmen. And then later on, a band called Dolphin used to do free concerts outdoor, at Peachtree Beach. It was a hippie gathering. I was a hippie growing up, total hippie.
Right on.
And, this is after I, started growing my hair out, and everything like that. And anyway, they unpacked Vince Disruptum, and I noticed it had an embossed cover. And there was only 3 people in the center, and they had super long hair, which was really cool back then because you couldn't have long hair. You were outcast, man. You were, forget you, P square or whatever they want to, term you want to use,
Tommy.
Yeah. And the drummer, Paul Whaley, we thought was a girl on the cover. And we didn't know. And I took the album back to my bass player's house. And this is still in the Shades of Darkness day. This is like 68. We were still playing in the Shades of Darkness. And I put it on, and I was absolutely, like, oh my fucking God, man, I can't pull. This is it. This is the heaviest, most berserk rock I've ever heard in my life. With a tinge of blues thrown in, but mostly just a lot of feedback and loud. And I remember putting the speakers of my bass player's stereo up in the windows, second floor windows of his house in this quiet little neighborhood in North Arlington, Virginia, and turning the stereo on 10 and playing Dr. Please outside the windows in the neighborhood. And we got complaints, and the police showed up.
All the feedback.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I became very privileged later on to we're on an album called Blue Explosion, which is a double album tribute to Blue Cheer. And it's just Joe Hasselmander and myself, who you know very well. We did Feathers from Your Tree from the second Blue Cheer album, and we did our rendition of Dr. Please, and Joe nailed it. He plays all the instruments, and I did the singing and tried to sound just like Dickie, and we did a great job on it. I'm proud of it. It's one of the things I'm really proud of having done, because Dr. Please didn't have any music. It was mostly just a bunch of feedback. And he got all the right feedback and did all the right rolls, and everything was right. So it was cool. But Blue Cheer changed my life very drastically.
What about Jimmy? I mean, he was kind of in the same vein, like volume and feedback wise. What was it like seeing Jimmy on stage?
I saw Jimmy 4 times. The first time I saw him was at the Washington Hilton International Ballroom with Soft Machine and Heir Apparent. And this was in 68. And then I saw that was the original experience, and it was wild seeing Jimmy. I mean, it was like, look, he was from outer space or something, man. I couldn't,
He's from outer space. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, Dave Sherman and I, we once did a song called Space Marshal, and it's a tribute to Jimmy. And you know, I don't know where he came from, but man, the guy is so intergalactic, strange. I mean, look, he's total flash, total show, dripping sex, loved the women, and was a talent beyond description and an innovator that you can't, you know, put words to. I mean, and his lyrics are just, they're really out there, man, and they're incredible and loud as shit. Played at the time for like 75-80% white audience, playing heavy rock music as a black part American Indian guy, you know. So
Acid
it was like,
rock.
yeah, it was a strange combo up there, man. And then the other two guys had big afros like him, right? And stuff, you know.
He was a far
It,
out cat, man. I mean, he was
yeah,
from another planet almost.
yeah, he was. He had insight to things, and I read a lot of things about him when he was growing up, and he indicates those kind of things. He used to, you know, look up in the sky and wonder what was out there, and
Hmm.
all that kind of stuff. You know, stuff we're just tuning in on now, actually. You know, with the alien thing and all that. You know,
Right. Yeah.
it
I
was
mean,
great.
his volume, man, was, it must that's really amazing. Of course I'm jealous that you got to see all these amazing bands. I feel like I was kind of there in spirit, but I was born
Yeah,
at a different time. But the volume,
I was
like
young.
yeah,
I was I was very young. I mean, I was first time I saw him. I was 14. You know,
yeah.
and it blew me away. I couldn't believe it.
All
And
the Marshalls and the feedback
yeah,
and all the
yeah. I mean, I'm a self-admitted to this day volume freak, and I believe in stacking the amps up on stage, even if they're dummy cabinets nowadays. I just want it to look like that wall in quotes of sound, right? You know,
yeah.
why not? I don't get off on the, hey, my pig nose or my Mike Matthews Freedom amp mic'd up. It's the same thing. No, it doesn't. It doesn't have any imagery. It doesn't have any pizzazz. It doesn't have the kicker,
Hmm.
which is the big walls of the artillery up there. It
Right.
was
Well,
wild,
what
man.
about Sabbath? What was that like when you first saw them? What tour was that for?
The first time I saw Black Sabbath was in a theater in the round called Painter's Mill in outside of Baltimore, Maryland. It's still
Mm-hmm.
there, I think. And it's, the stage is in the center and it kind of revolves around occasionally. And they opened for Fleetwood Mac, for the
Hmm.
original Fleetwood Mac, the real Fleetwood Mac in my book.
Blues. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, heavy blues. And Black Sabbath were the opening act, and they had one album out. Or maybe Paranoid had just come out. I can't remember. It was 70 or 71 early, the beginning. And I love them. I like that because they had what we now came to know as the woof wall. It's moan tone, everything. Later on it was kind of the best tone on like rhythm guitar in history I've ever heard besides Yomi is Victor Griffin, who was in Pentagram. He
Mm.
coined that, and he's got the rhythm tone deluxe. That's that real woofy. It's like having two bass guitars and a drummer up there.
Mm. Right.
I love it.
Did you have like a favorite singer or anything like that back then when you were that influenced you or anything like that?
Uh, well, I've got so many of them, man. But one of my all time favorite singers is and biggest writing influence in history is Sean Bonnewell of the Bonnewell Music Machine, better known as the Music Machine. They had a big hit called Talk Talk in '66, '7, and his writing is all downer, demented, bummer. I'm desperate. Everything is no hope. And that's what influenced me to write, because I like writing stuff that has despair in it. See, I don't like doom metal, and I've told this in many interviews before. I can't stand doom metal. It's pretentious, it's boring, it's plotting, it doesn't have any changes, no dynamics, no continuity. I'm sorry, it's just not my cup of tea whatsoever. Being called the Godfather of Doom is a big compliment to me, and I take that totally humbly and with, gratitude. I take it very graciously, because it's meant as a big compliment to me. And Pentagram plays a lot of sludge music occasionally, but we have much more variety than that. I just don't like doom metal in the quotes as a genre. They're boring. It sounds like music to get stoned and be in a coma. And I'm not into that, I don't like being comatose. I'm still here, for Christ's sake. Yeah.
Right.
Don't pull a plug on me yet, for God's sake.
No, I agree, because the music has more, it's like the roots of the music that you're listening to and what you're influenced by, you incorporate that. And doom metal is its own style, everyone has, their own. Yeah. And it's, but old Pentagram obviously was a part of like that hard rock movement,
we're heavy hard rock. We're a
yeah.
heavy hard rock band, like Mountain and Grand Funk and bands like that,
But Bedemon was kind of more on the doomy side.
Yeah, but Bedemon wasn't a band. Bedemon was a little side project with our guitar player, dearest buddy Randy Palmer, who's also dead, and died 20 years ago plus. And all the guys are gone except me and Jeff O'Keefe. Yeah, there's the Bedemon album. Yeah, it's a great album. I mean, they had to do a lot of work to make that fit enough to be a release, because like the stuff on First Days Here 2, the second album, which is all rehearsal tapes at the warehouse, live in the warehouse. It was, there you go. And that's the original one with just the four of us on the cover. Then they made a reissue of it that had Randy on the cover also. First Days Here 2 is just all rehearsals. And the first album has got demo stuff that was actually recorded in the studio. But like First Days Here, the original album, that one, right? You got them all. Them. They're
in the Chamber of the Cosmos.
Yeah, First Days Here. I like the material on there a lot. It's got a lot of good, and it's heavy hard rock. It's not doom at all. It might sound gloomy and desperate and downer. It's bummed out stuff, but it's not doomed. It's not dead. Doomed is dead. And that's not my cup of tea at all. I'm very much alive. Right. And doing things right now. I'm about to leave next Wednesday to go do Desert Fest in Berlin and go play in Oslo. And we've been to dozens and dozens of countries and toured, and played for as little as 200 people and as many as 125,000. At the big festivals and stuff. I've done Hellfest and Wacken and all the major ones, and everything
That's awesome.
like that. Yeah, I love it.
Did I hear that? Is this the Pennant like a farewell tour, or?
It's not even a tour. These are 2 gigs coming up, and they're the last 2 gigs ever with the current lineup. I have got, I can't disclose the members because of company restraint and constraints, and because, and I can't disclose the label we're on, but there is an all new Pentagram. It's all new members except myself, and they are well-known people in the heavy rock industry, and have done many world tours and many, many, many albums with lots of different people. And it's right now it's guitar, bass, and drums again, and we're going to be doing, a half a dozen of the classic must-dos on stage, and we're also going to be doing songs off of Sub-Basement, finally, thank God, which is my favorite Pentagram album ever, by far and above. Sub-Basement's a class. I'm so proud. Yes, am I proud of that?
There
That
it
was a
is.
fluke. It's a fluke, that album. It just, I don't know how it came out so righteously nice.
Mhm.
And I'm proud, really proud of it. You know, Review Choices was good, the one before it with the devil on the cover.
I
And
might
I
have
love
that one here. Let me see. Oh, wait, there it is.
yeah, right. Jesus God. You're prepared, aren't you? But
I'm a
you
rock
know,
and roll disciple. Gotta be, right?
there you go. That's right. Yep, lifer in this game. You know, and
Um,
we're gonna start the new Pentagram will start touring in the fall. And we'll be doing Up in Smoke Festival and Keep It True Festival in Switzerland and Germany, and then we're going to be doing some shows. We're going to be doing a lot more touring in the upcoming year. Thank God. This was one of the reasons that we kind of parted ways on the current lineup because the guys had other walks of life and other avenues that they not necessarily music even, you know, their families and so forth and so on. It's just like when people look and if you look back on the movie Last Days Here with Me, the musical documentary, you know, Victor is in there and he's saying, wow, if you look on the back of a Pentagram album, you know, Bobby's just, I don't know if you should buy a ticket in advance because you never know who's going to show up. Victor didn't mean that with any harm. He just thought it, you know, that's how he felt at the time. But you got to look at it like this. I've had Pentagram together for 53 and a half years. How many people that come to our concerts are even that old? I mean, people
yeah.
are going to go about their ways and they're going to branch off into different aspects of life and continue on. It's not like, you know, you're bound at the hip. I mean, you know, you're a musical marriage, yes. And it's like having a wife, you know, three wives in the band, you know, without the
Yeah.
sex. But it's, you know, people go their separate ways. And the guys decided, Greg Turley made an announcement about 2 weeks ago, you know, he's going to step out and someone will be, you know, filling the shoes. Three other guys will be filling the shoes. You know, Matt and Ryan are not going to do the album. The new band is going to do the brand new album, which we'll be doing this summer.
Well, that answers
Which
my question. 'Cause I was going to ask you about, you know,
all
if
new
Joe,
material,
all new
all new
material.
material. Yeah,
Yeah, I
all
was going to
brand new
ask
material.
if Joe is, you know, if you'd ever get back to Joe, the '80s version with Marty Swaney.
No,
Um,
no,
okay,
no. Those people have also moved on with their lives, and
sure,
Joe
sure.
had some health issues, and Marty, you know, runs a business and successfully, and you know, Joe lives quietly up in Massachusetts somewhere outside Boston area, and you know, those are them days is over, and
Right.
but I am a lifer, and this is my livelihood. People forget that all the time. It's like they
Mhm.
think it's just a rolling party that ends with, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. You know, no, not whatsoever. It's hard fucking work. And it's a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of perseverance and continued dedication that goes into keeping a rock band rolling. And a lot of people behind the scenes that deserve all the credit in the world that keep the machine going with you, not just the musicians. You know, we just. I mean, yes, we create the art, and we're the ones who get screwed out of our money. But you know, it takes a lot of people to run that big machine, man. Especially when you're doing it worldwide. And I'm doing it, you know, on a massive basis now. You know, I got a shot at the big leagues, and one in a million gets it. One in that million gets in, and one in that million makes it. And I got to the major leagues. Thank you, Lord above. That's all I can say. You know, I'm very, very fortunate and very blessed, man. I'd never trade my life for a damn thing. Drugs, sex, whatever, scandals. I could give a shit. I'm still here, man, and I'm still pumping, and I'm still got blood flowing through my veins. I'm going to be up on that stage when the time comes. You know.
Well, it's exciting to hear that you got some new material coming out, a new album coming out. That's really cool.
Yeah.
If you ever
And
you
also,
please,
the re-release in 2 months, the re-release of the Re-Choices and Sub-Basement come out.
Oh,
Finally.
okay.
They've been off of Spotify, and I've had a lot of fans ask me over the last 6 months, why can't I find it anymore? Why can't I find those albums? They're not on Spotify, they're not on Apple, they're not. It's because the company went into a sellout and is closing that had the rights to those. So we relicensed them to the same company, unnamed at this time still. They're going to do a press release next week, okay, actually. But I can't say it because I promised, and I keep my word. I'm a man of my word. And those two albums are also being re-released by the same company that is doing the brand new album. And they will be out on LP, CD, and streaming worldwide, all three, so.
Well, if you play around here, the Black Manta, it would be an honor to open up for you guys. So keep me posted,
Well,
okay?
I'll keep you posted. I don't do anything to do with the booking whatsoever. That's what I tell
Gotcha.
people all the time. It's like, hey, do you think you guys can play the party down in Georgia? I don't know. Call who you're supposed to call. Why are you asking me? All I do is show up and play music. That's what I do. I'm an entertainer. That's what I do by profession. I entertain. I don't do business behind the scenes. There's someone very competent who's now the drummer in the new setup, and he has done much business and been around for many years, 30, 40 years, playing professionally in big rock bands in the world. And he's handling all that stuff, so.
So has there ever been any talks about doing a documentary about like the history of Pentagram, like the 70s and 80s history?
I wish that someone would do a documentary that shows the 10 years after Last Days Here ended, because that ended at the beginning of my real climb into the big stage. And I would love that to be done. It was supposed to be done at one time. The actor Kim Coates, who became famous and won an Emmy for Sons of Anarchy, which was a big TV show for many years, on for 9 seasons on HBO. And he was going to play me, and they were doing a biography, and Universal was going to do it, and so forth. And this was in 2016. Nothing ever came to fruition. Such is life, and we keep moving. And hopefully someday someone will want to do a biography, and I'd hope would want to co-author an autobiography with me of the entire journey, which would have to be in vignettes because I can't remember all the fucking time frames. Jesus, how do you remember a half a century all in one little book?
Right. Well, I know that you've talked that there was a very prolific creative period in the 70s, and you said that you've mentioned that you wrote at one time, 100 songs or
I wrote about 450.
Like ideas or riffs or
Yeah.
Is there still any of that stuff left? Is that going to be some of the stuff on the new album or?
No, we don't plan for anything on the new album to be old stuff redone. Although, because some of those old albums, like If the Winds Would Change and Human Hurricane and Death is Alive, 81, 85, those things have lo-fi recordings, which I am certainly not into either. But thank God for First Days 2 and Bedemon. They did a great job on making them hi-fi, somewhat. I mean, those were recorded on a 7-inch reel.
Well, I'm talking more about the ideas that are still floating around in your head that never made it onto anything.
Oh, yeah, I've got a lot of song ideas, and I'm going to have a lot of writing input in the new album. I'll have co-writing input in all the songs, definitely.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I've always got ideas coming. And now that, I've been sober for quite some time now, and the juices start cranking up again, more when you're not, killing yourself to live. Just going somebody's break.
So that is it coming out maybe in the fall sometime you're thinking?
The brand new one will be done by the end of the summer, we're projecting, and it will come out in 2024 though. Yes.
Oh, okay.
The-
And so are you guys doing vocal tracks? Can you tell us you're recording?
We're recording at the guitar player's studio, which he has a formal, regular big studio in Seattle. And he's from a well-known Seattle band. And him and the bass player were in the same band together for many years. And the drummer lives in Texas. I'll just tell you that much. And they're phenomenal musicians. The guitar player does all his own recording, mixing, producing, mastering at his studios, and he has 10 albums or more out, and with his band, and he has toured the world many times. And the drummer, I'll say he's played with many very well-known in the doom scene musicians, and is very heavy into marketing and merchandising of stuff. And we've got a machine that's going to be a really well-oiled machine going,
Sounds really exciting, man. I'm really happy for you.
And we also they are compiling. We have no projection and no label because Relapse doesn't want the album. First Days Here 3, which is going to eventually get the last remaining dregs of the songs that never got put on.
We all want them. We want to hear them.
That's what I've heard. They will get done. If I'm standing up and breathing, man, they're going to get done because I'm about doing nowadays and not just talking about it. You can bank on that.
Is there anything live that survived from that period? I have this where's this one? The Keg.
Keg Full of Dynamite was the high voltage. That's 70.
That's the high voltage period.
The high voltage period was Joe Hasselvander on drums and Marty Sweeney on bass from the Death Row era and Pentagram, first 3 albums. And it also had 2 other guitar players who I loved, Richard Keat and Paul Trowbridge. And those were done live at the Keg in Washington, which I'm sure you remember. Probably it was up on Wisconsin Avenue, and it was a dump that held about 150 people. And we used to play in there, regularly and all that. But no, there's no other live recordings. There's 2. I'll put it that way. And they are getting worked on to get fine-tuned to the degree of being able to at least release them on CD.
From the classic period?
High voltage era. With Richard
voltage.
And Marty and Joe.
I want to show this just because Joe gave it to me. It's the high voltage 7-inch.
Okay.
Living in a Ram's Head.
That has just been re-released in a 500 copies only limited edition. The single has the identical label on it, except instead of high voltage, it has another name of my buddy's record label on there. And I gave the rights to someone to make a 1-pressing 500 copy release of that. And he just yesterday messaged me that yes, he got them back, and where can he ship my little box of them to? And so there's going to be 500 copies available of Living in a Ram's Head Where the Screams Come, which is also the high voltage era band. It's Richard and Paul. Yeah, that's 78. That band was 77 through 79. Yeah.
Right.
Nothing.
I got to show one other. This is from. I just have to show this off because Joe gave this to me as well. He gave me his the first.
Oh wow.
I call it the Purple album, Purple Pentagram.
I don't have a copy of that, and I've seen that sold for over $1,000 on Discogs and stuff.
Wow. Yeah, he gave it to me a long time ago, but it's one of my cherished possessions. That and the high voltage 7-inch and this too.
Oh gosh, I'm not getting into that.
I know, but I
I don't
bought
like.
it at Y&T in the early '90s for a friend for his birthday for a birthday gift. But
Skip
I
off.
Skip. Yep. I bought it at Y&T in the early '90s. I just wanted to show that real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's called Pentagram 72 to 79, and it was an unofficial bootleg release and not supposed to come out or anything like that. And I was hard up for money during a certain heavy indulgence period in the late 70s, early 80s, and sold recordings of a lot of this stuff to a guy that I'm not going to name because I don't want to start defaming him and defacing him and slandering him on the air. But it was not ever supposed to be released stuff, and was promised to me to put out, and he did anyway. He even made a 10 CD bootleg set of Pentagram CDs, and you know, shit on him. Oops, I didn't say that.
Right. Right. Well, I know who you're talking about, and yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
a fan either.
yes. Yeah, he's screwed over a lot of people in the business and had to kind of go underground for many years because there were people hunting his behind and,
Right.
forgetting. But anyway, I'm glad people now get to hear the stuff at least. And it's cool now. It's water under the bridge. I've been told one thing very definitively by all the people I've worked with, and that's that I am the most forgiving and the most non-grudge holding and the most non-vengeful, vindictive person in the history of music, probably. I don't hold grudges against anyone for doing anything, even that guy. It's like, all right, you fucking little jerk, that's about it. That's my big get back. But I don't hold those things against people. I know why they did them. And a lot of them were just fans. And I realized that. And without the fans, you're not existent. So that's important, And I came to realize these things after rising up in the ranks and getting to, do the whole world gig and, make lots of albums and get lots of fan mail and all, usual crap that goes with, in quote,
Right.
rock star garbage. I don't like to be called that, but,
Well, let me ask you a question that we always ask everyone just kind of for fun. It's called the writer question. What's the weirdest, strangest, funniest writer you've ever seen? Whether it's yours or someone else's.
the rider with the
Yeah.
contract, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, we always have 6 pairs of black socks on ours, and 2 half-gallons of chocolate milk are a must. And the black socks is kind of funny because, when you come off stage, you're soaked through and through to the bone. We all know that who played. On these hot, it's 125 degrees up there. You're shaking your ass for everybody, and you're nervous too, whether you admit it or not. The nerves are your high tension, and you're putting out. So you come off, and you can wring water out of your clothes. And we all decided, I didn't want to try to wash these and then put them back on it. So we throw our socks away every night when we come off stage. So we started putting 6 pairs of socks on the rider every night.
That's
So I guess
awesome.
that would be it, if anything. And then there's also our European booking agent, dear Klaus Koschel, who's booked us in Europe for the last 15 years. There's always got to be, fifth Jack Daniels that's on there because he likes Jack. He likes the Jack. I like to drink the Jack, right?
Oh,
And
I was gonna say back in the day it might have been a little bit different,
well,
drugs
we
and
didn't ever have cocaine in our rider or any of that kind of
sure.
crap, which bands did, I mean, look at Guns N'
Sure.
Roses, Motley Crue, you'll have a half an ounce of coke and then blah, 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 blah. Nah, I didn't go for that.
Right.
I used to get in enough trouble on my own without any other supply it for me,
Right. Right.
you know. Been there, done that, broken all the rules and, been to all the schools. So,
Right. I heard there's a movie about it.
yeah. Is
Yeah,
it
it's called Last Days Here.
really? Wow. Who's in it?
Been there, done
Yeah, he
that,
was
right?
kind of a mess for a while, wasn't he? But
Yeah.
he made it through the wormhole and he's still standing and he's healthy and he's sober and he's looking good. And that's that. So I can toot my horn. So if you didn't like it, like Alice Cooper said, you can always turn me off.
Right, right. Do you have any follow-up questions, Steve?
Yeah, I was just curious because you have toured a lot over the last 10 years or so. Are there any festivals or destinations that is kind of bucket lists that you haven't done before?
Yes. And this year we're going to try to, in the next year and a half, we're going to try to hit plenty of them that we haven't hit. And believe it or not, even like Download, Bonnaroo, and we want to play bad. This is for you personally in Australia, New Zealand, and Japan. We haven't hit those yet. The pandemic knocked that tour off. And I want to get to those countries because there's a lot of people down under. Miss Metal Official, who's on Instagram and Facebook, she's from Australia. And we have a lot of Australian fans and a lot of Japanese fans, a lot of Asian fans. And I really want to get to those places. And I definitely want to play Russia. So stop the wars, stop fighting. And I like to play even places like the Middle East. I want to play every place I can get my little ass to before I punch my ticket out. Right? Yeah,
Awesome.
definitely. So we're going to play a lot of big.
Well, you look good and you look and sound great, man. I gotta say.
I got a big mouth, like Ralph Cramden said.
You look, like you said, you look healthy. You look like you're.
Yeah, I forgot to shave because I didn't have time, and I looked at the thing, and I'm a baseball nut. I tell it in all the interviews too. I'm a baseball fanatic, right? I mean, I watch 9 to 12 hours, 7 days a week of baseball. I mean,
Well, you're
literally.
a baseball nut. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I know all of the pitch velocities and the different types of fingerings of pitches and the revolutions and the bat speeds and all the analytics that they use in baseball now. And I'm still a baseball freak. I have been since I was 3 years old. When I was 5, they said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I said, "Either a New York Yankee or a rock star." So those are the two things I wanted to be. And when I grow up, I'm going to get on the Yankees someday, damn it.
Right.
Yay, Juan Soto. Go Juan Soto. Everybody, watch Juan Soto. He's taking the limelight even from Aaron Judge. The Yankees are really cooking this year. And I love the Phillies, of course, because I'm in Philly. And the Phillies have the best record in baseball. So
You got any last words out there for your fans?
Please keep listening. Don't give up on us. Don't get doomed too much. Because if you're doomed, you won't be here. Remember that, okay? And, stick with us, man, because we're going to get to all the places we haven't gotten. People don't need to send the Instagram, come back to this, come back to that, come back to that. I know, and I love all you people out there, all you people who've supported us for so goddamn long, man. It's bizarre. 3 generations I've covered now. People bringing your grandchildren. It's a trip. And so stick with us. Keep your eyes out for the new Pentagram, the new album, the re-release of Basement Choices. And also keep your eyes out for yesterday. We just had myself and Sonny Vincent, the punk legend from the 70s, from the Testers. Our second album, By the Limit, went to Portugal to start getting mixed. And that will be coming out hopefully at the end of this year also. So that's four Bobby albums. Yay! That'll be coming out this year. So please keep on listening, man. Follow me at bobby.liebling.81 ... dot this slash that under slash, X mark, whatever. No, but I'm Bobby.Liebling on Instagram, Bobby.Liebling.81, and I'm Bobby Liebling on Facebook. And follow Pentagram. There will be a new Pentagram official page going up soon because Greg was running that, and now that Greg's departed from the band, we're gonna start a new page and stuff. And here comes the next saga. So like it says, the last thing, the last line of the movie Last Days Here, when I look up with my little boy in my arms and I go, look out, world, there's going to be another me. I'll leave it with that. Love you guys out there, man.
All right. I just have one last thing to say, and that's remember, look to the stars, carry that torch of enlightenment, and strive to be a disciple of rock and roll in the Brotherhood of Orpheus.
Always. Love it. Love you guys.
Rock and roll,
Peace
brother.
out. All right. Thank you. And thank you, Steve.
Tonight you ride on black wings of death. Rolling hoover to the floor. Devil's right. We are what and shall rule again. You found it time. Death is not the end. Time again. Evil's way. Time again. Evil. Don't burn the witch out on the stolen ground. The ground will let you down. Evil's way. Time away. Evil. The truth be told, talking behind your back, cold in the dead night. That's when we attack.